Today's date is November 17th, 2017.
The darkest day.
The darkest day.
Oh, it's so dark.
Hello and welcome to the Hit the Books review of Justice League.
Bah, bah, bah. Because we're Batman.
Because we're Batman. Where are the reviews? Where are they? All right. For our podcast listeners, you're just going to be left wondering what the hell we're doing. We're wearing the Michael Keaton and Christian Bale Batman masks.
So the best Batman masks.
The superior Batman masks and the superior DC universes.
Oh, yeah.
That thing's hard to wear.
That is a challenge.
Your eyes are so bunched up right now. It looks so uncomfortable.
It's very, very, very close to my eyeballs.
His eyeballs. Because he's Batman.
Where are my eyeballs? Where are they?
Where's Martha? Well, welcome to Hit the Books Justice League review. We're getting this to you the day after we saw it. We went to the Thursday premiere, and the attendance was extremely underwhelming, to say the least. I'll put a picture up on our YouTube video. I would guess there was probably like 12 people total in this movie theater.
Oh, come on. There were at least 13.
Oh, wow. Please forgive me, Justice League.
Oh,
there was more people promoting this movie outside the theater than there were actual people in the theater watching the movie.
Yeah, I think you had a funny experience initially when you got there. Because why don't you tell the story about the lion?
Oh, yeah, this is a bit incriminating.
Only a little.
So I was waiting for Emery to show up so we could get her tickets and everything, get in the movie, and I noticed there's a lot of people and kind of superhero T-shirts and stuff, and I'm like, all right, this is a good showing. It looks pretty promising. And eventually, a woman came out and gave the call that the theater was clean and open and said, all right, filling for Thor Ragnarok. And literally 90% of that crowd went into the Thor Ragnarok movie. And that entire crowd that I thought was for Justice League completely disappeared.
Yeah, wow.
So that was foreshadowing of the future.
Of what we could expect from this movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Which, wow. Just wow.
For those not familiar with our Hit the Books review process, basically we go into a spoiler-free review discussion, and in the end we give our final rating of thumbs up, meh, or thumbs down.
Keeping it pretty simple.
Pretty soon we'll have the written reviews for all these things on our webpage, so you can look forward to that. But for the moment, we're still getting everything ready. After we've given you our spoiler-free impressions, we will give you an explicit spoiler warning, and then we will get into the spoiler discussion where we discuss the impact this is going to have on the greater universe, the criticisms we have of the plot, and anything we want to applaud them for, which I would guess is not a whole lot.
There's like maybe one or two highlights.
So, Emery, let's get to it. So for context, Emery and I saw this movie in probably the most forgiving format possible. We saw it in a 70mm film.
70 millimeters. 61 more millimeters than what was given to my parents.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
it's so savage.
Oh, this movie was savage.
Poor Batman. I'm sorry, Batman.
I don't think I've been more upset or disappointed since I lost my parents. Or since I unfortunately became apparent.
Oh, I can't take it anymore.
Oh.
I can't take it. 61 millimeters. More than...
That would be a big bullet. That I think it would only take one of those to go through both of my parents at the same time.
Oh, making jokes about parent death. Oh, boy.
I am a rich orphan.
Oh, I think we've lost all our credibility. Batman, I'm sorry.
We lost our credibility. I mean, have you seen this movie? Oh my God. I didn't know I'd ever grow so fat.
Yeah, you really let yourself go, didn't you, Batman?
Oh my God. It's something about raising 4 kids.
Are you talking about the Justice League or the Robins?
I mean, tomato, potato, you pick one. Like, they're all a bunch of youngins who really need to get off my lawn.
Oh, no.
Let's see. The Robins, at least the Robins were also mostly orphans, who also mostly looked like me, which made things easier. Except for Batgirl. Oh, Batgirl. Oh, the cameras are still on.
We saw this movie in 70 millimeter.
Probably the most forgiving medium that you could see this movie in.
Exactly. So you had the straight film. It wasn't a digital screen at all. It was full projection at a very large scale, mind you. And the CG was still rough. That was not very good. Granted, the CG, I feel, at least personally, that the CG has gotten lazier and lazier. The one exception I'll say is like the Disney face youngifier that they used in Pirates of the Caribbean and Star Wars.
Yeah,
that's it still has a little bit of that uncanny valley. Uncanny valley being that mental perception that something is wrong, even though you can't quite put your finger on what looks wrong about the image or the character or whatever. The CG in this movie is just not good, not refined, and there were key things about this movie that we'll probably get into during spoiler discussions, where it was very evident that there was some editing done, probably in recent post, since the reshoots didn't happen all that long ago.
Yeah, there was definitely something that it would be one thing if it just happened the once, but this was a recurring thing throughout this movie that had to have been constantly fixed in post the whole time.
Yeah. So, visually speaking, this movie has cool moments, and I hate to do this, but I have to compare it to Thor Ragnarok, which is another movie where we're like, it wasn't great. If you take your brain and just kind of smush it in a corner somewhere and pretend that you don't have logical thought processes while watching this movie, you will at the very least have a good time in the theater.
You'll be entertained, for sure.
It won't make sense. It'll feel discombobulated and all over the place and all over the map, but at least you'll have a fun ride. It'll be pretty and whatever else, and it'll sound cool, and the characters will be cool for the most part when they're not doing really heavily forced, humor lines or awkwardly delivered, Disney humor.
Things that would seem out of character for the character.
Yeah. In this movie, it suffers almost from the exact same things that Thor Ragnarok did, but it has a much, much more fragile foundation with the DCEU,
to say the least,
than Thor Ragnarok has with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, you have, 10, 15 years, somewhere around there, of good content and good story building and good character building that at least give Thor Ragnarok the benefit of the doubt throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Justice League doesn't get this.
It's not earned.
And quite frankly, even though I had low expectations going in, I don't think it helped it as much as it should have, because it's just such a shallow film, and I think the thing that bothers me the most is like BVS, like Man of Steel, even Wonder Woman to a certain extent. It has great ideas, but it just doesn't harness them properly. It doesn't execute properly, and the movie once again kind of squanders great opportunities.
Yeah.
Something that BVS was extremely guilty of, which Wonder Woman at the end was a little guilty of, even though we love the movie, and which Man of Steel was guilty of in the significant parts. Like the worst scene
parts
in this entire universe, I still maintain, is that fucking tornado scene. So stupid and inconsistent with the characters. And that's another problem with this movie. They try to harp on Pa Kent a lot to try to give Superman some kind of emotional depth. But the whole foundation of the Pa Kent scene in Man of Steel being his, process for, thinking back on Dad and how Ma Kent is dealing with this and how Amy Adams' character tries to support him and, how he's... spoiler alert, he's buried with a picture of his father. That's not a big spoiler. It's just
anyone who watched Beavis should know that that was buried with him.
And they just keep emphasizing that picture. And it's just so awkward, where they keep trying to do this Costner thing where Costner played the dad well, but that tornado scene just ruined his character completely and ruined any kind of cool dynamic you could have had and any kind of depth, Superman doesn't save him from this fucking tornado in the middle of nowhere with a crowd of people that already know you're Superman because you lit the fucking school bus. And you're just interpreting his silent hand raising as, no, I'm cool with you letting me die and letting the farm go to waste and letting your mother be husbandless for the rest of her fucking life. That's cool.
Thanks, Batman.
Because that's what the Boy Scout Superman would do. That's what a true and higher hero would do. Just let people die for no good reason.
Yeah. About that.
Yeah, just as an adult, too. He's an adult. He did this as an adult. That's what makes it the worst. Oh, it's so bad.
So many issues.
But this movie just doesn't have the strong foundation that the Marvel Cinematic Universe had for Thor Ragnarok. So when it tries to utilize some of these past things from the universe and touch on things from the past, it just flops. It just flops right on its face. We saw this yesterday. We reviewed it yesterday, but we had an issue. It's my fault. Blame me.
Something of an issue, yeah.
And we were a little bit more, I would say, vitriol filled last night.
And we had a fresh pain.
We had a very passionate discussion. Now we've had a day to think on it and consider it. And I think we probably won't be as harsh on it this time around.
You won't be as harsh.
But
man.
It's still...
I have some shit.
It's not great. So let's get into it real quick. Characters. Who was your favorite and why? And who do you think was the worst?
Well, in a surprise turn...
Or weakest.
Probably the strongest and most well-developed character in this entire movie is Cyborg.
Yeah. Ironic.
Yeah.
Because Cyborg has so many things going against him. One, he shouldn't be in the Justice League. Period. He's not a Justice League character up until the reboot where they had to force somebody who wasn't white into the group.
Where's Jon Stewart?
So
He's
we're
in
just
space.
we're just gonna take him from Teen Titans and just
You graduated.
Yeah.
All right.
Except he was never a Teen Titan in the new universes, but whatever.
Yeah.
Victor Stone had this awful CG, like super busy costume the whole time. And I will say they did clean it up enough, at least on the 70 millimeter, that I was like, okay, it's not too bad. It's a little foggy and gross, but his costume is just so busy and so goofy and CG, and he really doesn't have much to work with. But of all the characters in the film, he does have the most character development. He does have the most human story, ironically.
He's the only one who's actually connected directly to the MacGuffins in question,
Yeah.
of which there are 3.
Yeah, he's the only one that's really relevant to the plot as a whole.
Hilariously. Like, all of the other characters are either technically unnecessary or superfluous.
Yeah. But as far as enjoyability goes, I would disagree on Cyborg being the most enjoyable for sure, because he was just kind of dry and there. Not to say it was a bad thing, but he was just there, and at least he had some kind of character depth. So most of the time, I was connecting to him more than any of the other characters.
Yeah. Getting him to act like a robot, I think, really kind of helped him bring out the robot in him.
Yeah.
Because there were some parts where he just sounded like someone who was part Terminator. And he's like out to get you.
Yeah. For me, the brightest spot in this movie, after Jeremy Irons' Alfred, who's always a bright spot, was Aquaman. Jason Momoa was great in this movie. Now, I'm not a Jason Momoa fan. I don't like Game of Thrones personally. I know. How dare I? I just don't dig it. And that's ironic since I'm a huge Lord of the Rings guy. But
I'm going to tell you why you like Jason Momoa in this movie. It's because he's basically the Arnold Schwarzenegger of this entire group.
Yes. Yeah, he's pretty much Arnold Schwarzenegger in this movie. But I really liked him in this movie. I liked how he played Aquaman. I like how he handled himself. I like the scenes he had. You know, his early interaction with Batman that you see in the trailer was kind of goofy plot-wise because the world's greatest detective can't deduce this initially, but he's literally painted on the wall.
I think that's my favorite moment. It's like, wait, hold on. Long hair image thing. Dude with long hair right in front of me. He seemed
to be wearing contacts for most of this movie, and I wish they hadn't done that, because it just took... I don't know if he's actually like cross-eyed or lazy-eyed, or if it's just because of the scar and it creates the illusion that his eyes are always looking in 2 different directions. But with
we got some eyeball issues.
Yeah, with the contacts in, it looks like he just got like bug eyes, like on
like chameleon eyes.
Yeah,
it's just like looking in 2 different directions because my eyes have extra muscles on top of them.
But I mean, when he's got his natural eye color, it's much less noticeable, and he looks fine. But with the bright blue white contacts in, it just looked kind of weird. I don't know. I wasn't digging the contacts, but everything else, like even his uniform in the middle and towards the end of the movie was cool. The Quindent, even though it's supposed to be magical, but apparently in this movie it's not.
As far as we know. That being said, from what we can tell, he really hasn't been exposed to magic. He probably wouldn't know how to use the dang thing.
Yeah, we'll discuss it more in the spoiler section. But
yeah,
overall, I thought he was a cool character. He's fun. He added life to a somewhat lifeless movie at times. His outfit looked
this
cool.
Movie needed.
He looked intimidating. He looked like a superhero. He just played the role, and his parts, even his parts, underwater and stuff, looked cool and played cool.
Yeah,
I was surprised. What do you think was the weakest link among the cast?
That's a really tough decision between Batman.
Believe it or not.
Yeah. I am still shocked that of all the characters we could have, maybe been a little too lax on, we decide to go that route with the most beloved character in all of DC Comics.
Yeah, it sucks because he showed glimmers, I'll say, in BVS. There were still parts where it was like he did the typical Ben Affleck thing where he's kind of like jutting out his lip a little bit, and he's kind of like, he looks like he's in another fucking planet, and then he comes back into the conversation.
But it's like he's having an out-of-body experience, like, all of the time.
Yeah, but in that movie, at least he showed emotion from time to time. In this movie, I believe one reviewer in our podcast, episode 11, referred to this movie as Batman being drunk, and he nailed it on the head. Batman just behaves like an awkward teenager, and Ben Affleck just phones all of his lines in, and every scene he just looks like he's just off in some other world thinking about something else, you know?
Probably thinking about the Batman movie that he wish he could make.
And I've never been that big a Ben Affleck fan outside of Kevin Smith movies. Like, I like him in Dogma because he just plays himself, which is, kind of airheaded asshole.
That sounds like Ben Affleck.
At least in his roles he's played. People give him a lot of credit for Argo, but again, I think he was just being himself. It was directed well, but I've never liked his acting, and I was one of the people that was like, Ben Affleck is Batman, why? And then I saw the jacked outfit, and I was like, all right, this could be interesting. And then BVS had good moments that like gave me hope, and I was like, okay, I can see it then. He's kicking ass. This movie, Batman does not kick ass. Batman swings around once or twice and then stands in place and shoots guns. And then he gets in his Batmobile and shoots guns. And then he gets in his little crawler thingy and shoots guns.
I'm sensing a pattern here.
His fat ass can't be bothered to do anything ninja-like. In fact, the person being the most stealthy and most strategic and the one interrogating people was Wonder Woman, not Batman. Batman's fat ass was just waiting for criminals and glowering and posing, and like, it was just so.
It's like the Batman
bad.
Forgot what book he came from.
Yeah, he just wasn't Batman. Just was not Batman. I don't know if he was the weakest one, because for me, the weakest was Ezra Miller, personally.
It hurts. It hurts to even think about him.
Now,
honestly,
if you haven't seen this movie yet, I think Ezra Miller is going to be the most divisive character in this movie. I think if you're younger and you don't care as much about this universe in general, and you haven't been exposed to any other kind of previous Flash, particularly Grant Gustin as the CW Flash, you're going to be like, he's fine. He had some funny moments or whatever, which, the genuinely funny moments are ruined by the trailers. Just be forewarned. And to me, he is awful. Every scene he's in just makes me cringe with his line delivery. He's not Barry Allen, for sure. He's not playing a Barry Allen character.
He's playing Woody Allen?
He's playing... Yeah, that's what I would say. He acts like a young teenage Woody Allen.
Who runs like an idiot?
Yeah, he doesn't need... there's so many problems with this Flash. The costume is horrendous. It's awful. And when he tries to move his head in it, it's like the old Batman movies where he couldn't move his neck. So he's literally moving his shoulders in every direction that he looks because he can't turn his neck far enough. Didn't we learn our lesson already, WB?
We need our necks to move.
The costume is poorly explained. This kid who apparently has no job, which is a plot point of the movie, is somehow affording this high-tech spacesuit, essentially. It looks goofy. It's super shiny and like plasticky looking. It looks like that plastic old grandmas put on the couch, so when they smoke in the house, it doesn't stain the couch. That's what it looks like. The visual effects.
Oh my god!
The visual effects are cool at moments, and it's mostly just because you're distracted by the audio snaps from the lightning.
and
more than the visual itself.
Not the weird grandma plastic.
Yeah, and it's horrible because we already have a better example of the Flash of Barry Allen in the form of Grant Gustin.
We've had him for 3 years.
The visual effects on the CW television show, which is a glorified soap opera
that has a fraction of this movie's budget,
was more impressive than the $300 million budget Flash for Justice League. It was embarrassing. So you have these two issues. You have a character who is, well written, probably fine, is portrayed in the most awkward Woody Allen, just skeevy, weird way, awkward way. And I get that that's what they were trying to shoot for, but they were also trying to shoot for a Joker like Lex, and that didn't work too great either. I understand what you're shooting for, but it doesn't work. You shouldn't have been shooting for that in the first place, because that's not Barry Allen. That's not who Barry Allen is.
Not even a little bit. He's honestly supposed to be one of the darker characters as far as any kind of hero that broods.
Yeah.
His is supposed to be the type of brooding that the brooding should be so intense that you can feel the regret, or not the regret, but the longing for being able to, well, not being able to, but actually doing the thing that you want to do, which is go back and save your mom.
So there's a lot of dynamics that they just, again, great opportunity, but just squandered it, which is probably the most infuriating thing for any kind of comic book fan. If you're a person that has no context for these characters and you go into this movie just looking for something flashy to watch, probably won't bother you that much. But for anybody who's more of a fan of the Barry Allen we know, who has seen the CW show, has already put up a great example and format for how to do this, I think you're going to be very disappointed, especially with Ezra's delivery. It's just he's so awkward, and I don't. So some people seem to love him, but I am on the far opposite side of the spectrum on this one.
There's a scene with just him and Cyborg where he almost goes 100% Woody.
Yeah, it's
and I'm pretty sure Woody Allen himself does his best to never go that far.
It's very awkward, yeah, and not in a fun movie experience way. Then we have Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, I would say, is the perfect median in the group. She doesn't really contribute a whole lot narratively. Her acting is not terrible, but it's not particularly good either. She clearly has prioritized her career as a model over her roles, because she is in Wonder Woman and in this is one of our criticisms with Wonder Woman, is that with next to all the other Amazon women who were clearly working out and clearly jacked and clearly representing a warrior race, Gal Gadot just looked razor thin. In this movie, she's even thinner. And
I didn't think that was possible.
The wardrobe for the film didn't help her in this aspect, because they put her in these really long, lanky outfits and super, super high heels that make her look like a runway model and not a superheroine, you know?
Yeah.
Not the powerful, intimidating woman you would expect Wonder Woman to be.
You can't...
I thought she looked the fittest in BVS, ironically. I thought she looked the most intimidating in BVS. Wonder Woman went down a notch, I think more because she was next to all these other actresses that had gone the distance and actually committed to it. And this movie, she's clearly just...
She's saying no, she would rather be a model. The thing that hurts about this is that she has the perfect opportunity to not only cement herself as basically the greatest symbol of feminism that has ever existed. And instead of, pursuing making yourself actually look like a superhero, you instead go it looks like I haven't eaten like in an entire day.
Yeah.
Or maybe longer.
Yeah, she's razor thin in this movie. And it's made worse, I think. It's one small thing to easily overlook, but when you have the kind of just dry line delivery that she gave, it not bad, but just dry, just like emotionless.
She is boring.
She's very boring.
She's
She's extremely boring, which sucks because we loved her in Wonder Woman. Granted,
right.
She wasn't the most interesting character. I'd say Steve Trevor and her aunt. I always forget her name. But
yeah.
the former Princess Bride.
Yes.
I thought those two characters were way more fun and interesting. Even like the supporting cast, the group of merry men she was with.
The not quite Howling Commandos.
Yeah. I thought even they were a little bit more fleshed out and interesting than Wonder Woman, but she was still held her own. She was still up there with them.
Right.
In this movie, not at all. She was just there, and I think some of this is on writing because I think some of the lines were just not good, and I think some of it was like on shot placement because they had these super awkward scenes where clearly they were trying to go for a symbolism thing, but it didn't make logical sense. It completely like stopped the movie where it didn't need to be stopped.
Yeah, I mean this because it's Zack Snyder. And Zack Snyder is very prone to trying to set up a shot that looks really, really pretty. Mm-hmm. It almost lands.
Almost. He does it just awkwardly enough, and the transition is just awkward enough, and like it lasts just long enough that it's infuriating.
He somehow has managed to basically be either a director or an executive producer on all of these movies and oversee the same mistakes being made over and over and over again.
Now, see, Snyder is at his best when he just commits 100% to doing his usual thing. If you watch Watchmen, he very heavily, tosses in this symbolism stuff, and every scene starts with a big cinematic moment where the character's posing or dropping down from the heavens or something, something cool,
something fantastic.
That's fine when that's the whole movie. When the whole movie is shot in that context and in that way. 300's that way. 300. Every moment is a cinematic slow motion event where there's a bunch of symbolism and there's a bunch of poses and that's
like every
fine.
scene's practically a painting.
And that's 300's a fun movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
For that reason. Same with Watchmen. Because he fully committed. And all of these DCEU movies, he just kind of tries to put a little bit in there, but it's not consistent with the rest of the film. It's not consistent with how the rest of the film is shot. Now, granted, this movie had 3 directors shooting scenes, so I don't know if that was a factor. But it's been true in BVS and Man of Steel, and I would say to a much, much, much lesser extent, Wonder Woman. Because that was directed by a different director. But you still kind of see his mark in that movie, especially at parts at the end,
Yeah. I think one of the big things that has been so unfortunate about this was there are parts of this movie where, because due to a tragedy that has occurred within the Snyder family, Zack Snyder had to be replaced, and the company
after the movie had already been shot, but the studio had wanted reshoots,
right?
And Snyder couldn't come back because of an incident with his family.
Yeah, because of that, the reshoots that were done were
the first round.
Yeah, the first round. Those were done by Joss Whedon, who's known for his success with both of the Avengers movies. At the very least, financially, both of those movies were a success.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there gets to be a point where it feels too Whedon, which I never thought I'd ever say in my life. Because usually whatever he puts out is damn near entertainment gold. But in this case, it felt like he didn't know what to do with the Justice League.
I mean,
and the script didn't help him at all.
He didn't have a very great situation to begin with, though. He's coming from primarily doing Disney movies to WB Studios, so he's unfamiliar with the cast and crew, most likely.
Yeah.
He's working with a script written by 9 writers. 9 writers are credited for this film.
We can't say that enough. We really can't.
I'll get to that later. I have a rant
Yeah.
about Hollywood in general in this regard. He had a cast, half of which was just phoning it in, particularly Ben Affleck.
Most notably.
And a desire to portray certain characters extremely inconsistently, with both their persona in previous movies and in the comic books. And it was hard to take, and it was just very awkward. Again, we're doing a lot of criticism here, but there were some positives. Like I said, Aquaman breathed life into this film when he was in it.
Like every scene that he was in.
Every scene. Jason Momoa shot it out of the park. I mean, he hit it out of the park and nailed it.
Which is hard to do with a pitchfork, let me tell you.
As we've discussed, I really want this DCEU to just reboot. You don't even have to get brand new characters for everybody. Keep Jason Momoa. If you want, keep Gal Gadot. I would say look for someone else, maybe.
Yeah.
Because clearly she's not dedicated to the role.
And unfortunately, it shows.
But there are good elements here. Jeremy Irons as Alfred was great, you know.
Yeah.
They
perfect casting for that, too.
There are good pieces in here, and there are moments of greatness, and like even Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill is a great Superman.
Yeah.
When he gets writing that isn't cringeworthy, you know, when he has something good to say, he delivers it well. He looks the part. He's jacked. He's got that big square jaw that you recognize as Superman. You know, he looks good in the outfit.
He's worked
he has a cool
very
costume,
hard to look good in that outfit.
But the writing is just killing him. You know, in this universe, this context, the foundation is killing him. So there are good moments. There's cool action scenes. I'd say more towards the middle and end. I think. Yeah, you see a lot of it in the trailer, but seeing the full fleshed out action scene is pretty cool when they're fighting with the parademons. The fight scene with Steppenwolf, who is a very generic CG nothing villain.
He's like a CG. He's a mess. That character is visually a mess, and it sucks that this movie had the opportunity to cement Steppenwolf as, like, this is the interplanetary asshole you never want to fuck with.
Yeah. I think this movie had the same problem with the villain as Thor Ragnarok did.
Yeah.
Where visually, he was pretty cool looking. I think Hela was a much more intimidating looking villain.
Easily.
But both of them show up for no good reason on Earth. To get the plot device, yeah,
the special MacGuffin to help him win,
and they make him out to be this big intimidating force, but then in the actual battles, he goes much less intimidating, kind of like Hela, you know.
Yeah,
with Hela, you
weirdly not as intimidating,
and much like Hela. Most of the movie doesn't even focus on Steppenwolf. Most of the movie just ignores Steppenwolf completely. They're just off doing their own thing for reasons. In Thor, it's much more egregious because they literally have a second movie in the middle of the Thor movie where they just ignore Hela completely.
They literally should have subtitled that movie Thor Ragnarok and Planet Hulk.
Ish. Plus Jeff Goldblum.
guest starring the Devil's Anus.
It's so stupid.
But it's the dumbest shit. You know what? We're not talking about that movie. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Justice League.
Yeah, this movie had good sound design. It had cool music in it. I thought there was a few points, like the first big Wonder Woman scene where they play her music, and it sounds totally out of context because he just had this intense drumming music for the events that were going on prior. And again, her being in that situation was logically invalid anyway.
That didn't help.
But they just put it in there to have the symbolism and then to play the cool theme song. You know? And it was just awkward because she's just standing there, you know.
Pardon me while I play electric cello to get you in the mood. Like, wait, what?
So let's get into spoilers because I keep holding my tongue, and I'm sure the audience is getting frustrated with me.
Like, are they going to say it?
Yeah.
Are they going to say it? It's about time we said it. Spoiler warning. Wee woo.
Well, before we get into the spoiler, let's give our final rating.
Okay.
On a scale of thumbs up, meh, thumbs down, what do you give it? And should people see this in theaters? Oh, he's warming it. Not a good sign.
Buddy.
Not a good sign.
Oh, you're in the shit now. I'm going to give this a...
Oh, no. Thumbs down from Emery Saunders.
Full thumbs down.
Wow.
And I'll tell you why.
Wow.
Not only did this movie have a bunch of opportunities that were missed, probably because they didn't have a real story to begin with, other than generic alien becomes the villain that they have to fight together.
Yeah.
And they make him just tough enough. Some more than others.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard tale of this movie being more respectful towards Superman. I kind of believe that in like a very, very low degree that's true, because this movie was way too much of a business decision. This movie screams, we need to come up with something to not just rake in the big bucks, because we got to compete with Marvel, but we got to do this fast so that, you know, we can get to our other projects. And this movie was the perfect opportunity to tell a really good story as to why heroes sometimes need to stick together, and this is not that story.
No, it's completely squandered. Do you recommend people see it in theaters?
No. No.
I think you saw that one coming, folks.
Yeah. I say...
And again, we saw it in the most forgiving format you could possibly imagine, with 70mm film.
Even that didn't help.
Yeah.
This is the kind of movie that I would say, wait. Wait until it's playing on that television, like that basic cable thing, TNT.
Wait for TNT, Netflix, you know.
Yeah.
Redbox, whatever.
Yeah, if you have Netflix, wait till it goes to that so you can say, oh, I mean, I've already paid for it technically, so...
I will say this movie, it's not as... The things it does wrong are not as bad or egregious as BVS and Man of Steel. I've expressed this several times, but with the Snyderverse movies, there's always a trend where Man of Steel, overall, if you just took like quality versus time, there was more quality time in that movie. There was more good parts in that movie than any of the other ones. But the parts that were bad were just so egregious and so against what Superman is and how the character had been portrayed in the movie and how the character is portrayed outside of the movie.
It only takes one scene to ruin an entire narrative.
And there was several. There was 3 or 4 scenes in that movie that were just like, ooh, you probably shouldn't have done that, because now that's your basis for this character for the rest of this universe, and they really destroyed the whole foundation of Superman through these movies. BVS had less quality time if you just look at the proportion of time in the film, but it had many more mistakes, many more missed opportunities, many more squandered opportunities, many more production mistakes, I would say, where they shoved too much in, and they tried to add something that should have been probably the first Justice League movie to the end.
Yeah,
and they just made more mistakes. They were lower in severity than, say, Man of Steel, but there were so many more of them that it just weighed the movie down. And this Justice League movie, I think, continues that trend where the things it does aren't as egregious, aren't as ruinous as they were in BVS and especially Man of Steel, but they're just scattered throughout the entire movie. Logical inconsistencies, character inconsistencies, bad visuals, weird transitions that don't make sense, weird shots where you're trying to put Gal Gadot's flat butt as the majority of the screen for half the conversation, just
Snyder, we know what you were doing.
Terrible decisions throughout this movie, and terrible portrayals and phoned in lines and just awkward narratives and a weak illogical story and a weak kind of flimsy villain.
You're still on the meh, huh?
I have to give it a thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down. A hesitant thumbs down.
Folks, this was originally, when we had first filmed this, I was still thumbs down, but Chris was meh.
I was at the lower edge of meh, I think, after thinking about it for a day. Even though I enjoyed Aquaman a lot, and there were cool visual scenes, and it was cool seeing the team together, there were just so many weird things that I was just like, oh.
Just
a
story.
Why did you have to do that,
Yeah.
And I think this movie, I don't know, maybe I'll give it the low meh again. This movie does one thing that BVS didn't do, and that's deliver a satisfying conclusion. Where the conclusion, even though it was illogical, even though it was silly, it was fun. So you left the movie feeling good. BVS did the opposite, where it did a really decent to good first and second act, and then the third act was just horrible, just garbage all the way through. So when you left that theater, that's the feeling you were left with. You were left with that horrible pit in your stomach feeling that they just went off the rails in that third act. This movie does the opposite, where it's scattered. The mistakes are scattered throughout the movie so evenly that you can still leave the movie when you've turned your brain off again, feeling good about it, feeling like you had a decent time. I would say this is lower meh, upper thumbs down, if that makes sense. I'm so hesitant to say either one. I think it's a thumbs down though, if I'm honest with myself. Please, I beg you, do not go see this in theaters if you haven't already. Wait for it to come out in other formats. If you get free tickets or whatever, great. But don't pay your hard-earned money to see this movie in theaters, because the more money that these movies continue to make, even with the declining quality and the declining performances and the declining writing and the scattered direction and scattered production, the more WB is just going to continue pursuing these projects. And quite honestly, based on the second after credit scene, there are 2 after credit scenes. The second after credit scene was so bad and so cringeworthy that
we're bringing that up.
It made me fear the future of this universe if they're going to continue doing these things, because it was just so cringeworthy and so just gut-wrench inducing, just vitriol in my heart. I was just like, oh. We'll talk about it in spoilers, but
yeah,
the first after credit scene was kind of fun, lighthearted, and cool. That's where they should have left it. The second one had a cool aspect to it,
but then
then it goes way off the rails in a very, very bad way, in my opinion. So, I think my final verdict is a thumbs down overall. I don't recommend you see this movie in theaters. If you do, more power to you. If you enjoy it, if you're on the opposite side of the spectrum with Ezra Miller, great. But I think you'll probably agree with us for most of the other characters and most of the other interpretations of this movie. Again, if you do see the movie, come back, let us know what you think. Join us for the spoiler discussion and compare notes. I'd love to hear what the audience thinks, because if I go by media, it's somewhere in the it's okay. So because it's not awful, we're giving it a good rating,
Yeah.
which is a sad state of things when they have to take pity on your studios and
like, oh, look at them, they tried.
So let's do it. Warning, spoilers. Spoilers.
Wee woo.
right.
Spoilers.
So I got a lot of fucking problems with this movie.
Oh, do you? Do ya? How do I hate this movie? Let me count the ways.
Okay. Again, the mistakes in this movie, not as egregious as Man of Steel, not as egregious as BVS, but there are so many of them.
Oh, yeah.
Many of them.
This was death by degrees. It's like, oh, they got that wrong?
Yeah.
And that wrong? And that wrong? It wasn't like a monumental fuck up.
Yeah.
But there are so many it's like you pile enough fuck ups and you're going to get a mountain.
Yeah, it adds up. It might be small little spoonfuls of dirt, but eventually that becomes a big fucking pile of garbage,
Yeah.
Oh
my God.
I think the one that hits me the most is how they revive Superman.
Oh.
Now, if you watched BBS to the end, they have a scene where Bruce delivers this completely unearned line about how he could have been friends and how he failed him and this and that, and then they pan to the grave that has just been freshly, buried and filled in, and they zoom in on the dirt, and the dirt starts to move like it did in Man of Steel when he went to fly for the first time.
So as to signify that maybe he's not all the way dead.
So when that happened, I was like, why did you do that? Why didn't you just, if you were going to kill him, why didn't you just commit to it? Now that you've done that, you've already told everybody, which they probably could have figured out anyway, but narratively, it was stupid because now it leaves you in a corner that Superman's is somehow alive in that coffin. He is still, in some way, shape, or form, alive. In this movie, they're like, no, he's actually dead. He's still dead. He's still completely dead. But we're going to use this magic cube, the mother box, and we're going to dip it in the goop in the Kryptonian spaceship, which they sneak into in the most ridiculous fucking way. As a person who was in the military, I can tell you, yes, the gate guards are lazy. Yes, they're not going to look at your ID too much, but you're not wearing your fucking ACH in that military truck, young man, and you're going to get fucking wrecked, especially without another driver next to you or ground guide, whatever. But
wow, you got those new guys good.
They sneak into this fucking facility, top security facility, just the most ridiculous way, and fucking dump the perfect corpse. Hair still perfect, nails still perfectly cutiformed and everything.
How long was he dead?
Nice, beautiful suit. He was dead for like a year.
I'm pretty sure all of those things still grow even after you've expired.
Still using the fucking picture of Pa Kent, mind you, as a plot device saying, oh, it's his father. Think of these memories. And he goes into the goop, and then Flash electrifies it because there's not enough voltage left, so Flash has to do this flashy thing.
It's like, I have to show I'm useful, guys.
Because he's fucking useless the rest of the movie.
Oh.
So they
just save one. Just save one.
See, that could have been a cool moment because then he would become the hero, but he doesn't become the hero. He saves the people there, and then he's just useless again, and Batman has to save him.
that it's going to get into like a bigger issue across this whole movie that I have. But before we do that, let's
specifically about leadership and the subplot about a certain character getting leadership when Batman is doing all the fucking work in the first place. But, whatever. So they revive Superman in this dumb way. Then he comes back. And they, foreshadow it heavily the whole movie. Oh, he might not come back the way we think he is, or blah, blah, blah. And sure enough...
Like something could have happened to him.
Sure enough, he goes kind of rogue, and he doesn't remember who he is, which is fine. It was a cool action scene in the movie. It was cool seeing Superman up against the entire Justice League. It's specifically one scene where Flash is running around the monument to kind of like flank him, and... while he's in the Speed Force, Superman's eyes just look at him and turn towards him. And Flash realizes, I am so fucked. He is as fast as I am. And Superman is still fighting the other Justice League members and pushing them off while he's staring at Flash and starting to come towards him to fight him, That was a badass scene. That was an intimidating scene, and that's what I expected. That's what I wanted. Again, events that were just like... could have been awesome, but were just kind of squandered in the end. Then, in order to try to get his memory back, Wonder Woman starts calling him Kal-El. He has been called in this universe Kal-El, I think, one time. In this entire franchise, he has been referred to and recognized himself as Kal-El one time. And all of the Justice League members call him Kal-El. Hey, Kal-El, remember who you are. Kal-El, you're Kal-El of Krypton. I'm like, why would he associate any memory or emotion to this? Why are you saying Kal-El? Call him fucking Clark. Say, Clark. If anything, say, Martha! Martha! Remember Martha! Do anything other than call him Kal-El, because he doesn't associate with the identity of Kal-El. He has no emotional attachment to this name. It was so stupid and nonsensical. I'm like, why would all of these characters call him Kal-El? They all know his name. They all know him, personally. In some way, shape, or form, they know his name's Clark.
Oh,
but
God,
Wonder Woman insists on trying to call him Kal-El to try to get him to remember. Also, they can have the shitty plot device where Batman brings in Amy Adams and endangers her fucking life so that she can go up and go, Clark, it's me, Lois. Clark?
Yeah.
And of course, he responds because she called him Clark! She called him by his actual fucking name!
Thanks, guys. Really did us a solid by showing exactly how to reach out to a person who's been freshly brought back from the dead.
Yeah. And once again, Batman is fucking useless. He just fucking stands there looking like a fat piece of shit and does nothing. Contributes almost nothing except the plot device that didn't have to happen if they had just called him Clark in the first place.
Yeah, the thing with them calling him Kal-El, it's never going to make any sense. It's never, ever going to make any sense because there's no precedent for that.
Exactly. It's not earned. There's no reason to do this. There's no narrative drive for this. It's just, we're going to do it. Why? That's just a terrible writing decision. Why did you choose that name? It's for all of them, not just Wonder Woman. All of them try to say that.
Even the Kryptonian ship never actually calls Clark by name or anything. But for some reason, we're going to try to appeal to our freshly revived friend by calling him by a name that he heard once on another spaceship that had a bunch of his own actual people that needed to fucking die.
Yeah. So you add that another illogical thing. There's a ton of illogical things. I'm not going to get to all of them because, again, it's just scattered evenly throughout this entire movie. Again,
which is a shame.
Not as severely movie destroying as the other films, but there's just so many more of them. And this fight scene, he goes toe-to-toe with Cyborg, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Flash, and to, I guess, some extent, Batman.
some
and he
extent
wrecks
being very generous.
all of them, as you would probably expect from Superman. But that's completely inconsistent with BVS, where Batman in a fucking metal suit with an open, exposed face takes him on toe-to-toe and just shoots these little gas canisters at him. Like, yeah, you could argue, oh, he was holding back or whatever. That was his excuse at the beginning. It was not the excuse throughout the fight, you know? Oh, he's weakened with the Kryptonian gas or whatever. But clearly that's not an issue here, you know?
Yeah. God, there's just bad choices made storytelling-wise.
Just so many illogical things in this movie. Was it J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
J.K. Simmons, I thought he would shine more. I thought he would get more opportunity to do things. He didn't do anything.
He gets one job.
He had 2 scenes, and it was for forced comic relief and for staging Batman on a gargoyle for dramatic Snyder scene that's held far too long, you know, for no reason.
That's basically become Commissioner Gordon's job, is to set up Batman.
Yeah.
It's like,
so that was a bummer because I thought he would have more to do, and I thought for what little he did get, he was fine, but he just didn't get much to begin with, you know? It was just like another squandered opportunity with these movies.
It just basically got shafted.
Ezra Miller's Flash, just awful. You see, they literally have the same style setup as the Grant Gustin Flash, CW Flash, in the prison scenes with the dad. The dad is so lame. He's so worthless in this movie. He contributes nothing. His lines delivered are just delivered dry and emotionless and just shitty. And I like the fucking original Flash, the original TV Flash that's in the CW show as his dad. He was far better than the movie dad for Barry Allen. I say that with quotes because he's not Barry Allen. He was far better, much like Grant Gustin, in his respected universe than this. And the scenes were shot better. The jail in fucking CW looks more convincing than the fucking jail in this fucking Flash movie. Just so many wasted opportunities, and I think they're made worse because the CW, a TV show with a much smaller budget and a constantly rotating group of directors, does a much better job than this fucking movie. And it's like seeing, you know, a white panel that you think, oh, it looks fine, and then you put it up against a white panel that's perfectly clean, and you go, oh, there's a big difference there. I think that's what happens with this Flash, where he just looks so inferior to the CW product, which is ironic because there's so much more money and investment in this version of the Flash. His character doesn't make sense. He somehow has the ability to afford this fucking warehouse with this fucking spaceship.
He's squatting.
Yeah,
that's actually something that they mentioned in the story, is that he's actually squatting.
Ugh.
It's like very heroic.
He's got all these televisions and computers and monitors and all this junk and a fucking spacesuit, Flash outfit that looks like fucking grandma's plastic couch. And which none of this makes sense. He doesn't have a job, which is a plot they try to force in this movie. Oh, Barry, you got to move on with your life. You got to take this job at the police department. Blah blah blah. Like, no, you don't. You're the fucking Flash. You don't. Your best friend is Bruce Wayne. Your only friend is Bruce Wayne. And quite frankly, I don't blame him. He's just his lines are delivered so awkwardly. They give him the moment where, you know, I thought was a cool moment where Batman does take him aside, and Ezra Miller, the build up to it, where he's like, "Oh, I don't know, I'm scared." Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous. Shut the fuck up, man. And then Batman takes him aside for a genuinely good moment in the movie where he goes, "Look, just do me a favor, calm down. Just save one person in this group. Save one civilian. That's all I ask. That's all you have to do, and then you can do what you want." And Flash goes, "Well, what do you want me to do after?" He goes, "You'll know what to do. Just save the one person." And he goes, "Okay." And then they have the big scene where he saves all the civilians, and he just keeps going. And that was cool, but then he's useless again immediately after. where Batman's still saving his ass because he's tripping over himself and he's running like this. Like, why is he running like this? The Grant Gustin Flash looks way cooler running normally, just a normal run, than this fucking Ezra Miller awkward, like, goofy, swinging running motion that just doesn't make sense.
You've activated my rage. Oh.
So
he runs like an idiot.
That was pretty bad. We already talked about Wonder Woman. Like, her context, just like, it's fine. It's just in the middle. Just, it's not terrible. It's not great. It's just there. She's a filler character.
Which you should never, and I mean never, be able to say that about Wonder Woman.
Especially when she has the best film in the franchise. She has the best film in this universe. And she's among the weaker characters. Why?
It should seem as though she's slumming it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the beginning of the movie, Steppenwolf literally kills a bunch of Amazons. She's just like, okay, whatever. That's cool.
There's
died. Danger.
I'm sure there's more women where that came from.
It's so ridiculous, you know?
Oh.
Steppenwolf's like, oh, my axe is stained with the blood of your Amazons or whatever. And she's just like, oh, okay. Swing. Like, what the fuck? Just no emotion to anything in these movies, man.
It's almost like she's afraid to move her face.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Which we can comment on Superman, Henry Cavill, who
the lip.
If you don't
Here comes
know,
the lip.
If you don't know, in Mission Impossible, the movie they're filming right now, Henry Cavill has a big mustache, and the studio refused to allow him to shave it or wear a merkin, as I would say, over his upper lip to do the reshoots for Justice League. You were getting paid millions of fucking dollars to do these movies. Why can't you just shave the fucking mustache for a few reshoots and then go right back? It doesn't take that fucking long to grow it, and if you want, you can just get the little fucking, upper stash wig piece, whatever. It's not that difficult.
There were ways of handling this situation that didn't involve...
What they could have done is just let his facial hair grow. He's been dead. He's been dead, but still somehow alive. Let his facial hair grow a little bit. Then he can have his fucking mustache, and nobody has to worry about it in the reshoots. But no, what they do is they try to digitally replace his upper lip, and it's so obvious. You hit that uncanny valley where you're just like, bad CG, and there's just... Ooh, there's something wrong with that face structure. There's something wrong with the way he's delivering his lines. Why does he always look like he's scowling? Why is the middle of his upper lip like dipping down like a widow's peak while the rest of his mouth is up towards the sides? It just looked so unnatural, and it was so clear that they had just digitally redid his upper lip to hide the mustache, which takes a character who is fine, is good in this movie, but is already struggling with bad writing, and just blows it up worse because now the emotion of his lines and his delivery are lost. It's rough, man.
It pains me. It pains me to realize that. And this goes back into this being a movie of business decisions. We CGI'd out a mustache, a fucking mustache, on a character who should have had a full fucking beard anyway, because that is what happens when you die. That shit still grows, at least for a little bit. Batman, that fucking drunk that he was.
Batman having his fucking, like, love affair with fucking Superman, where he's stumbling over his words like he's on a prom date or something, and I
know you didn't bring me back here because you like me.
I don't not like you. Like, what? What? Shut the fuck up. That's not Batman. None of this is Batman. Ugh. And it's inconsistent with the previous movies.
You know how
not only is it not Batman in general, it's not Batman in this universe.
Here's how I knew this Batman was going to be terrible from, like, the very first few minutes. Our introduction to Batman in this movie is, who would have thunk, a criminal in Gotham City doing criminal things.
Yeah.
And they're trying to go to the rooftop because apparently the police or helicopters can't get you there. But this is never the answer, because you know who's up there? Batman.
Being the
Guess what the first thing that this person sees as they finish climbing their ladder?
Batman.
Off in the distance.
He literally
the person who's supposed to be the hider or like the ninja extraordinaire is spotted within seconds.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, Wonder Woman was a better Batman in this film than Batman was in this film. Wonder Woman, I'll say it again, was a better Batman than Batman.
And somehow Batman still has the nerve to call her out on not leading.
Yeah, it's just so ridiculous.
What the actual shit?
They tried to shove so many subplots in this movie that just didn't make sense and did not work and were just not appropriate.
Is it ever appropriate to mention your significant other dying in a plane explosion?
I mean, I understand what they were going for in that scene, but they just executed it so poorly. Again, Ben Affleck with his fucking emotionless, fogged up eyes, where I don't know if he's fucking stoned or what, but he just wasn't in the room. He would just and then Wonder Woman,
he looks like he's truly dead inside.
Gal Gadot, she delivered them better than him, but not particularly well either. Yeah. It's just. So many things about this movie are inconsistent, illogical, poorly delivered, poorly done. Again, we're criticizing this movie a lot. There were good things. I loved Aquaman. I actually thought Mara was a much more intimidating figure than Wonder Woman was. I thought Mara was more badass than Wonder Woman was. And that's a crime. The fucking the fish lady who's a waterbender, she was in the movie for what, 5 minutes maybe? They had 2 lines. She was cooler and more intimidating than Wonder Woman in this movie. Wonder Woman in this movie was rail thin, skinny, not intimidating, boring, emotionless in a lot of parts.
It's just, I swear to God, this is a mismanaging of very much so their highest asset throughout the entirety of this cinematic universe. They had Wonder Woman. Mind you, rail-thin, non-warrior looking at all Wonder Woman, but Wonder Woman nonetheless.
Yeah.
And yet, within 5 fucking minutes, Mara, queen, not queen. No, she's not queen yet. Okay, so Mara, hot underwater ginger of the seas. She manages to outdo Wonder Woman as far as looking any kind of badass within 5 minutes of showing up.
She looked fit. Again, you compare the Amazons at the beginning of the movie, all fucking jacked. They're fit. They're not skinny, rail thin. They don't look like they've been, anorexic or bulimic for half their lives, They look fit. And maybe that's just Gal Gadot's natural form. But at least tone. You put something on there so you don't look like a skeleton in clothing,
Just, actually look
she
like
looks
you've
she's
been
a
training.
Scarecrow. She looks like a scarecrow in her outfits. And, her Wonder Woman uniform is literally, falling off of her sometimes. And it just looks like it doesn't fit her because she's gotten razor thin. And she was not that way in Wonder Woman. She was not that way in BVS.
It's like she forgot how to eat or something.
You look at, I would say, the person I have only one criticism about, Cyborg. Cyborg, again, he had just kind of a dry story, but he had a logical story that made sense.
Yeah.
So I give him that credit, and the actor that played him I'm forgetting his name right now.
Ray Fisher. I believe?
Fisher,
Yeah.
Ray Fisher played Stone in the perfect way. He genuinely became more kind of human as the movie went on. He showed character development, and he played well. But they used the CG costume, the CG metal that's constantly moving throughout the entire movie, and it looks horrible and trashy and goofy and sloppy. And then at the end of the movie,
Transformers. That's what it looks like.
At the end of the movie, they show him forming the plate that he traditionally has, and forming the look that he traditionally has. Why couldn't we do this earlier in the movie? Not only would it save you a ton of money and budget, because you don't have to keep animating this stupid internal structure on his suit that doesn't make any sense, by the way.
Yeah.
But he would be more satisfying to fans like you and me because he's actually looking like the comic character instead of this just hodgepodge of just mechanical bullshit that doesn't make any sense. Next on the list, I was talking about Aquaman. Aquaman, obviously my favorite character in the movie. But even he had just logical inconsistencies. Again, Batman, the greatest detective, isn't even a good detective in this movie because he's not Batman. He's shit. He's just a fat, lazy, drunk dude.
That had my favorite moment.
But he goes into this bar and he recites the story about some person coming on the king tide and bringing the sailors fish in times of hunger and starvation, and literally you look on the wall and it's a big picture of this fucking Pacific Islander dude, that's jacked above all these stick figures. Like, oh, I wonder who it could be. Maybe it's this 7 foot tall fucking Samoan guy over here.
Hold on.
But Batman can't figure it out.
You mean to tell me that thing on the wall with the long hair. Oh, my God.
And I'm pretty sure that's not how you keep a secret. Just saying. It seems like a very poor practice for someone trying to keep their identity a secret.
I will make myself into a legend so that when I roll into town next to my actual legend, no one will believe me. That's not how that works.
I liked that they gave him the Arthur Curry story. I was afraid at the beginning because of his look and the way he was acting that he was going to be the 90s like fucking hook arm bullshit bearded king asshole dude.
Full on Atlantean king.
Yeah, who's just a pious asshole and not likable at all. No, they went with the Arthur Curry story, which I appreciate and I was happy to see. I actually loved the outfit they gave him. They actually gave him the orange scales and everything, but in a way that looked cool.
It seemed
the
more
orange
like
scales
green and gold.
No, it was the orange. For sure, it was the orange. They had the orange scales, and then they had the gold A, and then he had the green pants. But they're subtle. It wasn't like ridiculous. That's why they got away with it.
Like all of the colors were muted.
Yeah,
which
is what you need.
Yeah,
for a realistic take on a fucking goofy character. Let's face it.
It was like
a character I love, by the way. That I love. His runs in, but he's a goofy concept.
There's like underwater dude who, because of fucking Super Friends, this will always be a joke with him. Because of fucking Super Friends, everyone will think of Aquaman as the person who talks to fish.
Yeah,
guys,
I talk to the ocean.
Guys. Can we let that go finally?
Yeah, that's another thing. The heavy-handed jokes were again just more. Do you really have to do this? Don't bite into what people already criticize these franchises for.
It just hurts.
But there's logical issues with his character because Aquaman says, "No, fuck off. I'm gonna do my own thing" to Bruce, and then swims away. And then later in the film, he saves a sailor from his ship going down. And the sailor is rambling on about seeing something like a ghost or something. And he doesn't know what it was, but it came for me. And he throws the guy on the table and he looks at his hand and there's green goop on his hand. And somehow he knows that this is the parademon, even though he has literally not seen a single parademon up to this point. And decides, oh, there's an emergency. I need to go to Atlantis. No reason whatsoever. Nothing explained. He just assumes that this random green goop is from the parademon and from a threat, even though he himself did not see the parademon at all. Swims back to Atlantis, a place that is established in this movie, a place that he does not go to, a place that he doesn't seem to be the most welcome in, according to Mara, and the way she states things, and the way they argue in the chamber, knows to go to this chamber where the mother box is, knows that there's going to be a threat there immediately, fights Steppenwolf underwater, which is a cool scene. That was a pretty neat scene when I thought the underwater scenes actually came off a lot better than I was worried they were going to.
It was in those scenes that I thought
specifically Mara looked really good in those scenes too.
Yes.
She stood out.
Definitely her. Definitely want I want an Aquaman movie. Like I want an Aquaman movie. Not just because of Mara, but that's a definite plus.
Yeah. What my one complaint is that we never got to see Jason Momoa as Aquaman fighting underwater in the full armor and with the trident. That kind of sucks.
Right.
Because that would have been cool. But we did get to see him fighting underwater alongside Mara against Steppenwolf, trying to protect the Atlantean mother box or whatever. Yeah. So that was cool. But logically, it didn't make sense. No. And then he talks to her, and he's about to fucking book it out of there and just do his own thing. And then she goes, "Oh, do you want your royal artifacts or whatever?" He's like, "Yeah, I need them. I need them." It's like, you've clearly not even bothered to interact with this world whatsoever, and now you're asking for these fucking royal artifacts, these treasured artifacts. And so that's how he gets his suit, and that's how he gets his trident, I guess. We don't get to see it happen. I think it would be cool if they'd taken him to the chambers or something and said, like, this is the trident of your forefathers that has magical abilities or something. Anything. To give it significance, but he just shows up later in the movie like, "Hey, what's up? I'm dressed as a bat. I dig it." You know, like
he's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He's still likable, but nothing about the plot. The plot around him doesn't make sense. It's just stupid.
That is the thing with this character. Jason Momoa will get away with a lot He gets away with a lot in this movie. He's going to get away with a lot in his own Aquaman movie, and that is always because he's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
This is Pacific Islander, kind of googly-eyed Arnold Schwarzenegger. Hilariously enough, he actually... there is a remake of Conan the Barbarian
being done by Jason Momoa.
Oh yeah,
of course.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. This like this
looks
guy.
the part.
He knows exactly what he is, and he plays to that.
Yeah,
and
typecast to a T.
Only a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. This movie does one thing for me, as opposed to like all of the hundreds of things against me that it does. The one thing that it does for me is it makes me think of all of the things that they are planning, as opposed to looking back at the mess they left.
Let's get into that. So we go through this whole movie, and basically, beyond like references, they really don't talk about Darkseid at all. If they wanted to, they could just cut the movie here and be like, "This is the end. Hope you liked it. We're going on. We're doing a reboot." That's what I want them to do. But I know they're probably not going to, especially if this does well anyway, even though it's not a good movie. In the end credit scene, the second one, I hated what they did because they had Lex Luthor, this pseudo Joker wannabe, Lex Luthor and Jesse Eisenberg, having replaced himself in the asylum with some old laughing inmate. Again, laughing.
A gag that's been done a million times.
Victims that are laughing. Who does that sound like? The Joker, not Lex Luthor. And he's out on some fucking yacht, his all of his money is liquidated. It's all obtained by the government for domestic terrorism, essentially.
He has no means to do any of this,
and yet he's there.
There's no reason that he should have access
to
any of this,
and Eisenberg,
and yet he has it.
Eisenberg is just so cringeworthy in his scenes because he's just this little fucking twerp. He is not Lex Luthor. He does not give off the vibe of a, that's an incredible intellect. He just looks like some awkward teenager that wants to be a shitty person, I guess, And when you put him next to Deathstroke, one of the coolest, most intimidating, most badass characters in the DC universe in general, a scene that could have been very exciting for a future in this universe, Deathstroke standing toe-to-toe with Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor, this little fucking twerp, talking down to him and acting like a wannabe Heath Ledger, I guess, but done in the worst way possible. Eisenberg was a terrible cast choice. Let's face it. Remember back when Bryan Cranston was rumored to be the one that was going to be Lex Luthor, and that's what everybody wanted? Bryan Cranston would have been perfect as the intimidating intellect that is Lex Luthor and the scheming that is Lex Luthor. But instead, they went with this fucking snotty kid, Jesse Eisenberg version, who doesn't play Lex Luthor. He plays a wannabe Joker. And his scenes are written to be like a wannabe Joker. He's a bad character. And then they set him up for another movie by saying, well, they have a league. Why can't we have a league? To Deathstroke. Deathstroke is not part of a fucking league. Deathstroke is a hired assassin. He works for money. Exclusively for money. That's all he cares about. And you have Lex Luthor saying, we should start a league. Why would Deathstroke ever be interested in forming a fucking evil league, with this fucking shitty Lex Luthor kid?
Meanwhile, in the Legion of Doom.
It's just so stupid, and it clearly is trying to set up for more terrible movies from this universe that I do not want. More terrible writing, more terrible practices. Let's get into the writing. I keep saying it about it. This movie has 9 writers credited in writing this film. Yeah. 9 writers contributed enough to be credited in this film with writing a significant portion of the film and contributing significant ideas. And it shows. And this has been the case with all of the bad superhero movies so far. I think Wonder Woman was the only one relegated to 2 or 3 writers. All the rest had a ridiculous number of writers, 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there. This is a bad practice, not only in superhero movies, not only in this universe, but in general. Get a group of, if you want to have that many ideas floating around, get those writers, have them pair up or something. One edits and one comes up with the main ideas, and have them each pitch their own idea and write their own manifest script. You're going to pay them anyway. You might as well have them compete for a quality product and have them give you a quality product and make it so whoever gets the winning script gets a little bonus on top of their salary, that they already got paid or commission, whatever. Do that. Don't put them all in the same room and have them each injecting their own personalities and their own ideas that don't vibe. They don't mesh together well. It's clear that there's a million subplots in this movie that don't make sense, that aren't supported, that aren't earned, that don't add anything to the movie, that have moments of greatness but just aren't executed very well. And this has been the story throughout the Snyderverse in general. You have the awkward cinematography from Zack Snyder. You have the bad scatterbrained writing that's coming from these writers. There's the corny line delivery for a few characters. There's the dry and emotionless line delivery coming from Wonder Woman and Ben Affleck as Batman. And then you have the really cringeworthy Woody Allen-esque line delivery from Ezra Miller. And then you have the awful just like weaselly, nasally, awkward teenager delivery from Lex Luthor. I refuse to call him Lex because he's not Lex. just horrible things all around where you have all these opportunities and all these ideas and you just squander them. one other thing I want to give them credit. Again, I think we're being really harsh on this movie because there is a lot to criticize.
It hurts.
Not because it's so severe necessarily, but because there's just so much of it sprinkled throughout that we can't stop talking about it because they've given us years worth of discussion topics.
Oh yeah,
about bad writing, bad production, bad shooting, bad characters not representing superheroes in superhero movies, whatever the case may be. There was a scene in this movie, much like Thor Ragnarok. It was probably one of the coolest, if not the coolest scene in the movie, where it's a flashback war scene. In Thor Ragnarok, they had the flashback war scene with the Valkyries and Hela, where she's going to war, and visually it was very cool. I think that was visually much better, but I think as far as like the cameos and the context, the flashback in this movie was much better, where they flash back to where the Amazons, the Atlanteans, the tribes of men, and the Green Lantern Corps are helping to push back Steppenwolf on this planetary invasion with the mother boxes.
Yeah,
and
that was a guest starring.
That was pretty cool, seeing the Green Lanterns in this universe at all, even if it was a 3,000, 4,000-year-old flashback or whatever. It was cool seeing the Atlanteans and the Amazons and tribes of men all together, and then you have who I'm guessing was Zeus and the old gods fighting them. They're with their lightning Raiden,
dude,
their Raiden powers or whatever. The problem I had with that flashback scene, though, is that all of these superpowered characters, literally gods among them, Green Lantern Corps, you name it, they had a much, much, much harder time handling Steppenwolf. It took all of that to push back Steppenwolf and the three mother boxes. This movie, he has the three mother boxes. He has an army of parademons. He's still the same powerful individual, and he gets his ass kicked for a good portion of this movie.
By none other.
By Superman.
Yeah.
And the team up between Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and, stationary Batman, as much credit as you want to give to him, while Flash is out pushing a car somewhere and being useless once again. Another, stupid thing that didn't make sense in the movie. They went through all this trouble to revive Superman and bring him back from the dead. They make the effort, to bring Amy Adams up there, Lois, to call him Clark, like they should have done from the beginning, and remind him of who he is or whatever. Bring him back down to Earth. And then they just leave. Yeah. All right, we're going to go save the world without you, whatever. Yeah, you do you, girl.
They
leave him.
They're pressing matters.
You went through all this effort to try to get him back, and you don't even take the time to explain to him the situation and be like, hey, we need your help. No, they're just like, all right, dude, peace out. And they go on a plane, they fly away, and they're just hoping Superman shows up at some point. Which, of course, because he's Superman, he does. But it was just so stupid. Why did they all leave without him?
It's a fucking waste.
Why even bother bringing him back if you're not even going to make the effort to have him help you save the fucking planet? You realize if he doesn't help you, this planet is doomed. You're all fucked. This is going to become a second apocalypse. You're done. Why are you not bringing Superman, the guy you just almost killed yourselves trying to bring back to life, Just stupid plot devices. And then when he comes back, he beats the shit out of Steppenwolf for a few seconds, and then he goes, oh, there's civilians to save. You guys can handle this. And books it. And fucking leaves for fucking 10 minutes of the movie with Flash saving civilians who would have been saved if he had just taken down Steppenwolf while they're trying to destroy the mother box.
But he had to save the civilians first, because otherwise he'd be distracted. No, he wouldn't. He's Superman.
No, they did that so they could have one humor scene with Flash where he's flying next to Flash, and Flash saves the one car of people, and he brings over the huge building filled with civilians. That's why they did it. That's because one of those writers in that room went, you know what would be funny? And then they put it in the movie. Not because it made logical sense to the context of the story. Not because it made sense for the character in the scene. Just because one of the writers was just like, this would be funny. Let's put this in there. People are always saying our movies are too dark, And again, you're in this big CG washed out, world for this big fight anyway, So visually, it's already kind of gross and not fun to look at. And then you add these awkward, illogical scenes to it to what would have been a cool scene, In Thor Ragnarok, I was angry because, the climactic fight between Thor and Hela was like panned away. Like they would jump at each other and they would cut to another scene, stuff like
There's
that.
So many sins.
And that pissed me off. In this movie, you get to see some of the action, but then they just stop the action for no reason and leave. And then come back to it later, just stupid movie decisions, stupid production decisions, stupid writing decisions. These things probably should have been cut. I will give this movie credit for being shorter, at least feeling shorter. I don't know if it actually was shorter, but it didn't feel as long and drawn out and just like cringeworthy throughout the whole thing as BVS.
Yeah, I think there was an executive order where they had to keep it down to like an hour 45 at the
I mean,
longest.
if you can't make a complete thought in a movie in 2 hours, you're doing something wrong. And I think that's a cardinal sin that Snyder has in all of his movies. He just pushes it too long, and there's always a director's cut that he tries, the movie's better with the director's cut, and then you watch it and you're like, no, it's not. These are scenes that you should have cut out in the first place. In fact, maybe you should have kept some of these scenes and cut out most of this movie.
It's like,
stuff like that.
Which would be better? Which would be worse? The world will never know.
Yeah. So again, this universe is set up so poorly, so fragile. This movie has good elements. It has moments of promise where you're just hoping and praying and just wishing they would just seize it, seize the opportunity and actually execute it.
But they never do.
They always leave you hanging. Just so many stupid scenes that don't make logical sense. Bad, production decisions. Bad cuts. Awful, awkward cuts. Just scenes that were clearly just so Snyder could get his symbolic gesture out, with Wonder Woman standing next to Lady Justice on the tower watching this terrorist act unfold, even though she's there to prevent it. She could prevent this all from happening in the first place.
It's like, oh, wait. Well, I'm watching this happen. Wait, what do I do? Oh, that's right. I'm going to... And she says, call 911. But everyone in the audience is saying, act like a fucking superhero and save the goddamn day instead of just looking at shit.
And I mean, you have this subplot with Wonder Woman specifically where it only becomes a subplot at the end of the movie. So I'm guessing it was just a writer that came along at the end of the movie where Batman's trying to pressure Wonder Woman into being the leader she needs to be and be out, representing heroes in the world, being the leader that Batman can't be. When Batman has been doing everything this entire fucking movie. He's the one that got them together. He's the one that got Flash to do anything competent. He's the one that contacted everybody and informed everybody of what was going on and what needed to be done. He's been the leader of this entire movie. Even when they're going into the final climactic scene where Wonder Woman is the leader of their group, of their strike force, Batman still tells them what the fuck to do. Says, I'm going to blow a hole. You guys follow me. I'll distract him. You guys go in and stop the mother box thing. And, maybe Superman will show up. That'd be cool. But, whatever. I'll take care of things. And once again, he's the leader. They just undermine their own subplots constantly in this movie.
Yeah. It would be one thing if, there wasn't any precedent for us to think that Wonder Woman would be taking lead. But we have a scene where Batman actually says, why aren't you the one leading us? And he's just like, be the leader. Be the leader.
Yeah.
Be the leader. Oh, shit. You're not the leader yet. I guess I'll be the leader.
Yeah.
Again, this whole fucking time.
So, again, I don't want to nitpick too much because I could literally go on for days about scenes that just didn't make sense and scenes that were awkward and poorly delivered.
This movie is riddled with them.
And then you had the foundational problems that come from the other movies that just drag this movie down even further, even though it should give them the benefit of the doubt and give them a boost because everybody's going in with low expectations. I hope this movie doesn't do well. I hope it makes just enough money to break even so that everybody gets paid what they were supposed to get paid and nobody, loses out. And WB goes, okay, we read you loud and clear, audience, because clearly that's the only way they're going to read you. These movies are not being critically received well, and now they're financially dropping off because the allure of seeing these superheroes on the big screen for the first time, or for the new generation, is clearly not working anymore. And we clearly have a quality issue. We're going to revise things, You have clear manuscripts for how to do these things properly. You have 15 years of Marvel Cinematic Universe movies to go off of. You have a very good CW show and CW universe that, while it's a lower budget and it's sometimes a glorified soap opera, they execute it well. They have likable characters that they flesh out, and they flesh them out in one episode, 1 hour episode, 45 minutes with commercials. Easily. And yet you can't do this in a 2 hour movie, 2.5 hour movie, 3 hour in BVS extended cut. Why? Why? And the only explanation is incompetence. That's it. It's the only thing you can draw from this. You try to give them the benefit of the doubt, but they have 3 movies now that are horrible, and 1 movie that was good but had issues at the end. Where they totally undermined themselves and the whole premise of their movie at the very end.
I think you might have caught on to WB's Most Dangerous Game. That Most Dangerous Game is chess against yourself.
But I mean,
mind you, this is from the same company that somehow thought that releasing Beware the Batman and just a straight up cartoon The Batman on the same fucking network was a good idea.
But it just screams incompetence from the bottom to the top. It really does. On some of not all the actors' parts. Again, we're being a little harsh here. Jeremy Irons was great. Jason Momoa was great. Gal Gadot was fine. Not great in this movie, but pretty good in Wonder Woman, and okay in BVS, I guess.
Yeah.
There are good performances there. There are good opportunities. And Deathstroke looks awesome in that extra scene. If that scene had just been Deathstroke, would have been an awesome end credit scene.
Oh yeah,
would have left me with a much, much better feeling going out of that movie theater.
I probably would have given,
but they ruined it.
That whole thing
with Lex Luthor, and this fucking not Lex Luthor himself, but Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. As pseudo Joker Lex Luthor. So
it just hurts to see something.
I really do hope that this movie doesn't do well, and that they get the message and they reboot. You have the perfect manuscript, the perfect format, the perfect guideline for how to do these things right, with the animated features, with all these animated movies that are for the most part very good.
Those animated movies are so good. When it comes to anything DC puts out that isn't a comic book, it's those animated movies that I'll go to first.
Yeah, and then you have the CW shows, which have clearly demonstrated that they can do Flash at the very least, Flash far superior than the Snyderverse can. You have the previous Nolanverse movies, which demonstrate exactly how to make an intriguing and adult superhero universe that people can appreciate and is critically praised and makes a lot of money still,
Yeah, that's
their biggest mistake was probably Dark Knight Rises, specifically making it PG, because there's some things in that movie that just look goofy, but
things that just
overall those movies were still better, far better, and more coherent, and had a meaningful message and great cinematography, and represented the world well. And for the least part, Batman was actually a ninja and a master detective. And then you have these, again, I don't want to compare it to Marvel, but Marvel has this manuscript drawn out for you and 15 years worth of movies. You have even movies like Hellboy and Hellboy 2 were more competent and used more practical effects and were more enjoyable than many of these Snyderverse films. And then you have the X-Men universe with Fox And they did a competent X-Men universe. They have some stinkers in there for sure. Wolverine Origins and X-Men 3 for sure. But then you look at masterpieces like Logan, and you have good movies like X2 and the original X-Men that got everything started, and X-Men First Class, and even to an extent, Days of Future Past. You have all of these different movies that demonstrate how to do superhero movies well, how to make these characters work in a live action environment, in a believable environment, in a sympathetic and empathetic environment, and how to develop these characters. But time and again, with Suicide Squad and BVS and Man of Steel, they just flounder every opportunity they're given. And I don't understand why they keep releasing more new characters for this world, like Shazam and, Black Adam and stuff. Why they keep announcing more movies like Suicide Squad 2 and a Harley Quinn movie and not one, but 2 different Joker movies. Stop it. These movies are shit. They're shit. I hate to say it. I am a DC fanboy. I am the person who makes the most excuses. When BBS came out, I made excuses for months where I was just like, it's not that bad. I mean, come on. There was some cool stuff in it, and Batman kicked ass. Well, in this Justice League movie, I can't even say that, because Batman just stood around and shot alien pistols and then a grenade launcher and then drove a car for a little bit.
He did a lot of shooting in that movie.
All he did was stand around and look fat. And there's a scene.
Yeah, he swings.
There's a scene that demonstrates how fat he is. when
he has to.
Towards the end of the movie. When he's pulling up his uniform. But
yeah,
when towards the end of the movie, they do this typical superhero movie thing where they just waste time standing dramatically before they actually go and address the threat that's about to destroy the planet. But they stand heroically in a line, and the scene focuses in on the front of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman together. And Batman looks so fat next to Superman, who is jacked. Superman is legitimately jacked. Henry Cavill is legitimately jacked. But then you have scrawny Wonder Woman, who looks like a skeleton with clothes loosely on. You have jacked Superman, and then you have fat Bat Affleck, who is literally twice the size of Henry Cavill.
Oh.
And he just looks like a fat old dude in a goofy costume. He does not look like Batman. What about this is stealthy? What about this is intimidating?
I think that's why he was just sitting on the thing waiting for the guy. He's like,
he always,
I don't feel like moving.
Not only does he sound like he's out of breath every time he talks, he looks like he's out of breath. Even though he's not doing anything. He's standing in costume, just standing there going like this from time to time. he is not.
Hold on, I need to sit down. I just shaved.
I appreciate what they were trying to do, because they were trying to build off the Frank Miller, Dark Knight Returns Batman that is like drawn dramatically huge for no reason and kind of fat looking and whatever and goofy.
Way to stick to the comics, I guess.
But you didn't have to. He didn't look that fat in BVS. He looked jacked in BVS. He didn't look like just fat, like outrageously fat. In this movie, he has a big beer gut going on. He doesn't look like fit. He looks just kind of fat.
I think I know why. When you lose someone that you love, that you realize you love.
No, stop it. Stop it.
Sometimes it drives you to drink.
No.
I think it's become very clear.
I think he's got those whiskey calories going.
Yeah, I think he was driven to drink because the person that he thought he hated the most turned out to be the person that he never knew he loved. This is the thing with
again, just
fat
more
bats.
Stupid bad writing and awkward situations that just didn't make sense in the context. It's just awful.
All of this was so
not earned,
disjointed, not connected very well, and honestly, this should have just been a Cyborg movie. This literally...
Yeah, probably. It would have been much better as a Cyborg movie.
I can't believe I'm saying this.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe that I have to say this. I can't believe that I have to say that the Justice League movie should have been about the one person who shouldn't be in the Justice League.
See, if they wanted to do the smart thing and follow the Marvel long-term process,
the committed route
that they clearly demonstrated for you, what they could have done instead, BBS is there and done. It's gone. You can't do anything about it now. You already released it. You already made it.
Right.
So that is where we're at. You already did Man of Steel and had the awkward scenes. You already did Suicide Squad. You're left with that universe now. But what they could have done is made, say, a Cyborg movie where Cyborg is just focused on trying to figure out if he is still human and having this emotional drama with his father.
Right.
And then
there's a perfect Frankenstein story in
Batman
there.
seeks him out or whatever and tries to recruit him or whatever towards the end of the movie. But the focus is Stone himself trying to come to terms with what he is and who he is and making an identity for him in this world. And then you could have it towards the end, the mother box is taken, and that's the first movie. Then the next movie, Aquaman. You focus on Jason Momoa and the Aquaman of this universe. And he doesn't like, his lineage in Atlantis. He thinks his mother abandoned him, on land with his father, and didn't want him to be part of the Atlantean society. So he holds a deep grudge and a lot of conceit. And, his father passed, and he was left alone, without a family because his mother abandoned him and all these things. You could have a lot of character development with this character. And then you could have the dynamic if you want to set up like the Jason Momoa and Mera situation, like in the comics, and have Mera be the one that brings him back to Atlantis, that says, no, we need you. We need you. There's a threat coming, and it's coming for the mother box, and we need your help to defend it. Only you can, listen to the ocean or whatever. Only you can use the royal artifacts because you do have the royal blood in you or whatever. Whatever the case may be. You could frame it in any number of ways, but you could make a whole movie about him trying to come to terms with the fact that he is half Atlantean as well as human and trying to somehow keep these worlds together and learn about his lineage and learn about how he can contribute in this world and learn that he can be more than just some drunk, on the harbor that saves fishermen every once in a while, And he comes into himself and becomes the hero he deserves to be. And at the end, he fights Steppenwolf with Mera and the troops just like they did in this movie. And, they fail. He gets away with the box. End of the movie. He goes back to Bruce and goes, all right, you were right. There's a problem. Whatever the case may be. And then you can make the next movie, the second Wonder Woman movie, which we already know they're trying to make. Make the present day, Wonder Woman movie where Themyscira is attacked by the forces, of Steppenwolf, and they call on Diana to come and save them and help them out or whatever. And then you can have a story about redemption and forgiveness because she was, she was forced to leave and banished from the island because she went against their wishes and went away with this man into the world of men in World War I. So she can rekindle that relationship with her mother, who she hasn't seen for 100 years. She can have this beautiful dynamic where she becomes a stronger character and maybe is inspired by the Amazons and not Batman to become a standout figure as a hero in the world and be a public figure and stand for justice and stand for what is right and stand for strong womanhood in the world. Any number of things.
Being a strong, independent woman that don't need no man.
You could work this in so many ways, and without all this accessory nonsense, and have a really good character movie. And Steppenwolf in the end succeeds or something. And she comes back to Batman and says, it's worse than we thought. He has them all now. And Batman's like, fuck. We gotta do something. And then Justice League could be entirely about reviving Superman because you need his help to stop them. and having like the world in disarray because Steppenwolf is bringing his forces and attacking the planet or something along those lines. And so Batman, you could have an Ezra. I don't like Ezra Miller. I don't like the Flash costume. I don't like anything about this Flash. So I would personally, I would leave him out and just reintroduce a different Flash, like a different type of Flash, whether it's Wally West or whatever. But
I actually would have called Grant Gustin. Like
Why not?
Yeah, we're gonna pay you extra. You're already the Flash. It turns out that
you want to be in a big movie, kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not the Flash we deserve. We deserve worse, but you are the one that we need.
But, I mean, you could make the Justice League about how they're trying to bring back Superman in some way, if you want to. I would prefer it that Superman was alive all along and he's just in hiding because he feels like an exile and he knows because of what Batman did and because of what Lex Luthor did that when he's around, there are bigger threats that will see him as a threat. And they will endanger people trying to take him out, basically.
Yeah.
Because they think they're protecting humanity by, getting rid of this alien that is basically all powerful. Like, have him, like, in the Fortress of Solitude in hiding or something. And he only comes out once in a while to, get food or whatever to stay sane,
Right.
And then, through whatever situation, you could even introduce his cousin. You could have his cousin arrive on the planet or something and have this dynamic where she somehow convinces him to come back to humanity, to come back to the world or something. Any number of things. There's so many possibilities here that could be fleshed out and have good character moments, if you just take your time, don't blow your whole wad in one movie and just try to play catch up with Marvel because you're never going to catch up. You're never going to. Just make it...
Make a decision.
It's so sad because I'm just riffing. I'm riffing off ideas, and I feel confident that those ideas are more coherent than a lot of the ideas they've been putting in these movies.
That's because they are more coherent.
So
there's
so many. Again, they have so many opportunities. They keep squandering every single one. And as a fan, as a person that wants to support them, as a fanboy of the DC universe that just wants nothing more than these characters to have success and these actors to have success and these directors to have success, they keep letting me down. They just keep letting me down. And I think you're right. I'm moving every time I talk about these movies. I move further and further away from meh to just awful.
Yeah.
So in the end, thumbs down. Don't see it. Tell us what you think. Do you have any other thoughts? Any other major things you wanted to touch on, or you want to leave it at that?
I'm gonna say a couple more things about this movie. This movie is going to hurt every hardcore DC fan, as it's hurt you, because this movie is a product of the company not caring to take its time. This movie, it was supposed to mean something.
Yeah.
And it doesn't.
Absolutely.
This movie was supposed to inspire when it actually depresses. This movie... This movie somehow manages to have everything that you think you want and also still at the very end have none of it at the same time.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think you hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah, and the biggest reason why they need to quit, but they won't, is because WB, for good or ill, is committed to having redundancy.
Yeah.
They like having multiples flying around. That was one of the things that, going back to like the comics that this all comes from, with like having all of your favorite Nightwing versions, like in the same spot.
Rebirth.
Yeah. Let's have a new Flash. We'll do a brand new take on the character. Like, the forensic scientist that you've grown accustomed to and loved for like the last 3 years. We're going to say fuck all that. and regress him to like still in college kid.
We can do it better.
Yeah.
No. No, you can't.
We're gonna say he's more raw. That's why he doesn't know how to run like a human being,
like a normal human being.
We're going to take this character Cyborg, who has been historically linked to the Teen Titans, and we're going to move him on up. Wow, I really just said that.
Moving on up
to the east side. DC apartment in the sky.
Know where DC should move? To the east side of Manhattan.
Where
it
they
belongs.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, up top.
Yeah, nailed it.
Yep, stuck the landing. The thing that kills me about this movie is that at its core, this is a product of the insidious nature of financial competition, as opposed to this being what could have been a momentous historic event in storytelling history.
Yeah.
This could have been like, imagine for a moment that we're doing a Justice League movie where we're dealing with the character Max Lord. The character who's been known for being the kind of like a double agent who ends up double crossing the entire Justice League.
Yeah.
And imagine for a moment we're doing a movie where we're just dealing with Deathstroke. Deathstroke, the Terminator.
Yeah.
Who very much has earned that name. Imagine...
Which, again, we already have a very good version of Deathstroke in the TV series.
We do.
In the Arrow.
We do.
And now we're going to have another competing, confusing version in this DCEU.
Because we like redundancy.
That, while it looks cool, is going to be teaming up with the most annoying character in the entire series. This Eisenberg Lex Luthor.
Yeah. Imagine for a moment that we actually got a competent Lex Luthor in someone like a Bryan Cranston or like a Billy Zane.
It hurts me because now they've wasted so much time that Bryan Cranston's probably too old to want to play the role, especially for an extended universe or something. You know?
Yeah, where he'd have to show up for multiple
sign
movies.
Up, you're pretty much committed for 10 years, you know?
Yeah.
And now they've squandered, again, not only a movie opportunity, but a real-life opportunity to have a great actor that would fit the picture perfectly.
Yeah.
Be this, menacing intellect, that goes toe-to-toe with Superman, both intellectually, with Batman financially, as well as intellectually.
Yeah.
He would be perfect.
Like, Lex Luthor would have been the perfect villain to have as the type of villain who would basically attack their credibility.
Yeah.
These are all of the ideas that could have happened, but instead, this is what actually killed the movie. Because of their trying to stay, financially solvent, they played it safe.
Yeah, they basically took all the criticisms they got and tried to get rid of the things that people were complaining about, but in the way they did it was just poorly done, poorly executed, and caused even more problems for themselves, I think.
They tried to make the Avengers, and hear me out here. By that, I mean they tried to make a movie where all of these disparaging, coming from different background superheroes, for whatever reason, come together to take down...
Come together!
Right now... over some stupid space asshole who we've never met before in our lives. We literally have a movie where all of these different heroes from different walks of life have been called in, like literally called in, to deal with a threat from beyond the stars.
Yeah.
Because I guess we have to do Darkseid at some point eventually.
I mean, it could be done well. They're just choosing not to.
Yeah.
And
It's like they're choosing not to. They're trying to basically, again, do what Marvel did, just not the way that Marvel did it.
Now, I just want to give you some context here. This movie cost an estimated $300 million, if not more, with the reshoots and stuff. To give you context for this, The Dark Knight, which is a far better movie, visually, emotionally, the writing is far better. They used practical effects instead of paying for all this CG that looks horrible and washed out, and these CG sets.
Yeah,
and used a superior director, I would argue. It cost $180 million to produce. That's almost half of what the Justice League cost. And The Dark Knight yielded them over $1 billion in gross from the box office. That's insane.
Because Batman is a business unto himself.
Because these movies can only hope for like maybe $900 million. So it doesn't even make sense from a financial perspective to keep making these movies. Yes, you're going to make a profit, these poor quality movies with this poor quality director and this poor quality cinematic universe. But you clearly demonstrated that you can do far better, both critically and financially. You can have cheaper budget movies that perform far better. Look at Deadpool. Deadpool cost, $45 million or something because they didn't want to take a risk. And that movie is far superior to anything in the DCEU. Even Wonder Woman, which is a good movie, not a great movie, can't even touch a movie like Deadpool that cost $45 million. Let's look at the Avengers, shall we? Avengers, big budget film. Robert Downey Jr. probably takes up most of the budget himself, let alone all these other big actors.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's taking at least a quarter of that.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr., you got Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, you you got some big names. You got Hemsworth. Yeah, you have all these names. You have a big-time director who's well-respected in Joss Whedon. And this movie cost $220 million to make. $80 million less than this Justice League movie. And I'm pretty sure BVS costs around $270 million. And they the Avengers grossed $1.59 billion at the box office. And again, they built a good structure around this universe.
Yeah, they did.
The Nolanverse, all I had was Batman Begins. Batman Begins did very well. Was a relatively low-budget movie. Performed very well. Got them hundreds of millions of dollars in profit. Dark Knight, critically beloved movie. Won an Academy Award. Got them all the respect in the world. Blew up Chris Nolan's career to another hemisphere,
Oh, yeah,
up
easily.
into the stratosphere, And they didn't cost nearly as much. So nothing about this universe with WB and the DCEU makes sense. The writing's bad. Some of the actors are phoning it in. Some of the casting decisions, in the case of Eisenberg, are very bad. They're terrible. Terrible casting decisions. Every movie is covered in washed out CG sets that just look fake. Not you feel like everything in these movies is just fake. Nothing is real, and
it's not even like the cool we're kind of doing the thing from Thor Ragnarok, going back to that where we're basically doing an animated.
We're giving you a light show. We're giving you a light show with Thor Ragnarok. We're giving you some eye candy. Not in these movies. It's just washed out, muddy, gross looking. Like,
It just hurts.
every character looks like Gumby in a fight scene, where they're just like flexing around unnaturally and just.
That fucking lip.
And it's costing them $300 million a movie.
I'm always going to go back to that lip.
The animated upper lip. Stiff upper lip. But they're blowing so much more money on these movies and getting so much less out of them. Maybe they're in another world and they understand their business better than I do, and they're like, well, we're making plenty of money. Let's just keep going. Let's ride this as long as it can go, and then we'll reboot and we'll spend the extra money to make another good movie. Maybe
If we're lucky.
But I think if they keep pushing audiences and their fans like this, they're eventually going to get to a point where there's fatigue. People just don't want to deal with it anymore. So you're giving us poor quality movies. You're messing up how the public sees these characters. I would guess the majority of people that know about Batman and Superman and all these characters don't know them from comic books that they've read. They know them from cartoons they've watched or from movies they've seen specifically.
Yeah.
And when you have these movies representing your characters, this fucking drunk, lazy Batman who's all fat and like out of shape and huffing and puffing throughout the entire movie, that you're ruining.
This is why the Robins left.
You're ruining this character for a generation, at least one generation of potential fans. And not only do you hurt WB and your future movie franchises with this, you hurt DC Comics as a brand, because now you have made Batman less likable. You have made him less marketable, So across the board, I just think this is all being handled very poorly. And please, fans, let us know if you disagree. If you have a counterpoint to this discussion, I would love to hear your opinions. Or if you agree, tell me why do you agree? Is there something we missed? Again, I hope this movie does poorly, and I hope they just recognize, hey, we're trying to make something happen that's not going to happen. Let's just wash our hands of it, get whatever's in production out the door, and leave it at that,
Yeah, this needs to be the turning point of the basically the company of DC as a whole. Because last thing I'm going to say about this is that this is unfortunately. Maybe the word is systemic, but this is something that's very blatantly the result of just Warner Brothers not knowing how to stay consistent across a particular brand, or how best to
absolutely
maybe promote a brand, like while you might have like a different version of that already out there. This is.
To me, this reeks of too many chefs in the kitchen.
Yeah. Too many cooks.
Yeah. Too many cooks.
Too many cooks.
Too many cooks.
Too many cooks.
There's too many hands in the pie trying to get their piece, and it dilutes everything. And
it turns everything into a mess.
It really does. And, I hope some people enjoy it more than I did. Again, I don't want to make this seem like I didn't have any fun whatsoever. It was a horrible movie, but it was bad. It's true. But I did have a good time at parts. I did enjoy seeing the Justice League on screen together. I liked Superman. I liked Aquaman. Wonder Woman was cool in the fight scenes, but outside the fight scenes, kind of irrelevant.
Yeah.
Flash was a little disappointing to me. Cyborg at least had character depth, if nothing else. I enjoy Jeremy Irons as always. Snarky Alfred is the best Alfred.
He was so catty.
And there were cool visuals throughout the movie, like when Aquaman jumps up and is flying through the air and throws his trident at another parademon, Cyborg gives him a lift and stuff, those things were cool, if not a little nonsensical and fun, but it was cool. It was cool to see. It was nice eye candy. The Mara scene was cool. There were redeeming cool moments, but overall, this movie's a stinker. I hate to say it because I am the DC fanboy around here, but it was a stinker, man. And
it's so many high hopes.
And nothing about these movie franchises makes sense to me. I don't understand why they're still pushing out press releases about future movies when they know damn well there's no way they're going to be able to sustain this, and their returns are shrinking because they keep putting more and more and more and more and more money into these movies, specifically in CG processing, and they just look worse and worse and worse. The writing gets worse and worse and worse. The characters get worse and worse and worse. And I think a big part of why the actors themselves are performing worse and delivering their lines worse is because they are in these giant green screen rooms. Every day they show up to work in the same place, in the same room, covered in green stuff with 2 props if they're lucky. And they have to fight and argue and talk with CG characters that aren't there and fight invisible parademons that aren't there and have these intimate character interactions when you're covered in lime green and fucking Henry Cavill has this fucking lime green polka dots all over his fucking face and you're trying to take him seriously and deliver an emotional, passionate line or something.
Oh my God.
They're just shooting themselves in the foot over and over and over, and eventually their returns are not going to match the budgets. Eventually, they're going to reach the point, especially with the $300 million budget and the audience we saw at that theater. Just nobody there because they've already established that these movies aren't worth seeing for the most part, And I hate to say that. I hate to say that because I know people, people pride themselves in their performances. I know based on just the fact that there were opportunities that were squandered in this movie. There were little glimmers of greatness in this movie where the Superman fight scene and Superman turns towards Flash and Flash is like, oh no, he's as fast as me. And he starts fighting with Flash. That was awesome. Where Bruce talks to Flash and he goes, just save one. Just help me save one. And then you'll know what to do from there. That was cool. That had potential to be great. And that would establish Batman clearly, if he hadn't been clearly established already as the leader without the stupid subplots. Even the Wonder Woman subplot where he's like, oh, why don't you show yourself in the world? Why don't you fight crime? Why don't you use your abilities? Why have you disappeared for 100 years? That could have been cool if they executed it well, but they didn't execute it well. And again, just squandered opportunities. There are good ideas in there. They're little bite-sized pieces, little bits of eye candy, good scores, good sound effects, a few good performances. There's potential all around these movies, and I think that's what makes these movies so painful to me, especially, is that they have all this potential, and yet they squander it again and again and again. If these movies were just awful from beginning to end, and it was just, there wasn't anything redeeming about them, and they're just awful, yeah, I'd be like, all right, it was this dumb, stupid movie, and I laughed through the whole thing, and it was what it was, But no, they get so close that they keep you strung along, where you just wish at the bottom of your heart of hearts that that they will find a way to turn it around, but they never do. And they just get deeper and deeper and deeper into the hole. And
I think they've gotten so deep that they don't know which way is up.
I think, to quote Forrest Gump, that's all I'm going to say about that.
And they kept running and running.
So please, folks, in the comments on our Twitter page at HTBVids, let us know what you think. If you have counterpoints or different ideas, or you wanted to talk about a scene we didn't touch on, please hit us up at HTBVids and on our website, www.htbvids.com, where you can soon see our review page. It's still not up yet, but it will be soon. Again, this is all revolving around time. It's very late here.
Yes, it is.
We're sacrificing a lot to try to get these things out to you. So please be patient. We promise you we'll have more content, both written and visual, for you coming soon, including next week's podcast, of course. Episode 12 should premiere on Wednesday. Look forward to that. I want to thank you for sticking with us. Be sure to like and subscribe down below if you like what you hear. Remember, if you're not watching this on YouTube, you can always catch our YouTube channel and watch it there. It really helps us. But you can also listen to it for free on Stitcher and iTunes. No cost to you. But if you would, leave a good rating for us and maybe some good feedback. Even if it's critical, give us something constructive that we can build from. I'd be really grateful if you could leave us some reviews on Stitcher, iTunes, and give us that like and subscribe on YouTube. It's been a great evening. Again, we've been pretty harsh on this movie, I think, and there are redeeming things, but we just saw it. We're still pretty fresh, even though it's a day later.
Our only hope, really, at this point, is that either they start from scratch, or they find a way to actually learn from their mistakes as opposed to repeating them. Yeah. That's all we want. We want them to succeed.
And I have to acknowledge, we're kind of spoiled comic fans, We have so much comic book content now, and not only superheroes. Every form of comic books, you even have an Archie TV show, going on that's supposedly pretty good. You have multiple X-Men TV shows. You have multiple X-Men movies. You have multiple CW DC shows. You had hashtag Save Constantine show on NBC.
Actually, CW Seed Constantine is on their website. You can watch all 13 episodes. It might be coming back.
Please,
it might be coming back.
Please. I want that more than I want Supergirl.
I think everyone wants that more than they want Supergirl.
Hashtag Save Constantine.
Yes.
But, we got the DC animated features. We have, obviously, the books. While we criticize the mainline books, we still have great superhero books and great stories like Batman White Knight and Mr. Miracle.
Yes. If you haven't checked those out yet, do.
And even if you want to extend outside of superheroes, you have Image Comics, which constantly puts out great material.
If you're not reading Invincible, get Invincible.
I mean, you name it. We are in the most glorious phase of comic book fandom where we are appreciated as a member of society and not kind of, derelicts on the side.
Yeah.
We have all this content. Every movie season is dictated by the superhero movies nowadays. We are so spoiled, and I'm sure coming across to people that aren't like avid fans of this stuff, like, oh, look at these spoiled fucking nerds, complaining about like their slightly bad movie. Well, it's because we're so passionate about these things and we love them, and we see opportunities being wasted and squandered, and we know a good thing can't last forever. Eventually there's going to be box office fatigue. Eventually superheroes are going to take a break, whether we like it or not.
I think
and we just want to see the best while we have the opportunity,
Yeah, like more than anything, I would like for these movies to be good enough for a person who's not familiar with that entire like genre of reading the comic book section. I would like for them to view something like that as a good movie. Yeah. Not just a superhero movie, but
Nolanverse is a perfect example of this.
Yes.
Yeah. Nolanverse, nothing is explained to you because it's all told very clearly, concisely, and coherently.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this guy lost his parents, got it. This guy seeking to learn skills to, fight crime and fight against the forces that had done this to him and other people like him.
Yeah.
He goes and he trains with different groups, including this League of Assassins,
right?
Attains all these abilities, and yes, he has this private wealth, which is very convenient, and he has a father figure that he has dialogue with, and so you can get into the inner workings of Bruce's mind. You had
Logan.
You had Logan, another great example where, again, you don't need that much explaining. If you know who Professor Xavier is, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Everything else is explained to you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Great movie, and you can go into that movie as a person that doesn't know anything about comics and be like, oh, that was pretty cool, that was really good, I enjoyed that movie had an impact, and again, not every movie's going to be a Logan, not every movie's going to be a Dark Knight, not every movie's going to be a Batman Begins even, or an X-Men First Class, but you can try.
Well,
you can try.
Yeah,
that's what we need. We need you to try, make the effort.
Yeah, And, sometimes when they try, they come out with things like Thor Ragnarok, which, while probably not every diehard comic fan's cup of tea, it's still been
not a good movie per se, but an enjoyable movie.
It's been
A movie,
so enjoyable that that movie has very quickly become either one of their highest or their highest grossing movie.
Yeah, and that's not surprising because it has so much to do with what's coming up with Infinity War and stuff,
Yeah.
At least that's how people perceive it. And the core characters of the Avengers, where Spider-Man Homecoming was, even though Spider-Man Homecoming was a far superior movie, a very, very good movie. Another example of a movie that didn't need a bunch of explanation to be great,
Yeah, it really didn't. That is a movie that could stand on its own, and anything that it doesn't explain, you'll understand pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. So, once again, thanks for sticking with us.
Yes.
I guess our movie season's over, really. We got to check out Valerian, but I think that's the only comic book movie we missed this year, right?
Yeah, that is.
We've had a lot this year. We had Logan, we had Wonder Woman, we had... Well, was Wonder Woman last year? I don't remember.
It was
late last year, or was it this year?
I think Wonder Woman was this year. Yeah.
So Logan, Wonder Woman, Justice League, obviously, Spider-Man: Homecoming, Thor: Ragnarok. Anything I'm missing? Valerian, we still need to see.
Doctor Strange was last year. I think
overall
it's
been everything. A pretty darn good movie season.
It's been jam packed.
There's been a little bit of a decline in some of the quality of movies, but we've gotten a lot more movies.
Oh yeah,
and I guess you could even count Star Wars if you want to be technical.
Yeah,
next year's looking just as big.
Yeah, that's going to be the next thing.
As much as it sounds like we're harping against Warner Brothers and DC and comic book movies or whatever, we're not. We love these things. We're very passionate about them, and obviously there's never been a better time to be alive for a comic book fan.
We want to keep it the best time.
It's just we don't want to become complacent with the success we're enjoying and start lowering our standards, in quality
yeah,
in exchange for the widespread proliferation of these ideas and products. So once again, I want to thank you for sticking with us. Thanks for listening and watching to our Hit the Books review of Justice League. Emery gave it a thumbs down. I also hesitantly gave it a thumbs down. Me being the DC fanboy, I tried my best, but I had to give in the end.
The movie failed you, unfortunately.
This has been a great discussion, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say. I'm your host, Chris Holcomb.
And I'm Emery Saunders.
And we'll see you next time. Be sure to look out for our podcast on Wednesday.
Woot!
Bye.
See ya.